How many things should you really be concerned with when doing a carnivore diet? You may have noticed in the carnivore space, you see people worried about a lot of different things. And by worrying about things, I mean things like, when you eat beef, should it be grass fed, grass finished? Should it be grass fed, grain finished? Is grocery store meat okay? And then what grade of grocery store meat should you eat? Or when it comes to dairy, should you eat dairy at all? Or if it's dairy, should you really go and just find the raw milk or the raw butter or the raw cheese? Oh, and how about eggs? Are commercial grade eggs normal, cheap, $1 a dozen eggs okay? Or should you spring for the pasture raised organic eggs? Or how about bottled water? Should you drink bottled water? Or salt? Or you could add a whole lot of things to this laundry list. There's no shortage of things in the carnivore space that people worry about. And every single one of them is important. Every single one. But how do you prioritize? It can be daunting, especially if you're new to the carnivore diet or you're thinking about coming to starting, leaping in and trying the carnivore diet. But you see all these things people worry about. And you begin to wonder, what do I get myself into? Can I do this? That's a lot of things to be worried about. So let me tell you about the things that I worry about. The things that I focus on. When it comes to salt, I use Redmond's Real Salt. I'm in North America. If you're watching this in Australia, I don't know the brands, but there are land-based sea salts in your country. Or if you're in Asia watching this, the same goes for you. Find a local land-based sea salt. That's one thing I do because oceanic salt has heavy metals in it, can have microplastics and other things. And table salt's got dextrose in it, which is sugar. And I got a video on sugar that I'm going to do hopefully soon on this. But I worry about good quality salt. I buy my beef locally from a rancher who does grass-fed grain finishing. That's kind of my halfway point. It still tastes the way people are used to with beef, as opposed to the grass-fed beef, which people have not been used to eating in a long time. But it has a better fatty acid profile. I do eat some pork and some chicken, but not much. I do drink bottled water still because my tap water is gross. It just is. I mean, we have an old water system here in my neck of the woods, and the water is more than a little hard. One winter we had you remember that deep freeze winter a couple of years ago where everybody in the media was making fun of Texas because Texas's green energy grid went down because it got to negative 20 degrees every day for about 5 or 6 days straight. Well, that affected me up here in central Oklahoma as well, and the water was no longer safe to drink. As a consequence, we kept the water running for days and days and days to prevent the pipes from freezing. And to help keep the house nice and warm, I was boiling water in giant kettles on my stove, and I had to throw the kettle out afterwards, after it was done, because that kettle had the hard water residue just caked on the inside. But it was eye-opening. And after that event, I couldn't drink tap water anymore. We'd been drinking bottled water for the 2 weeks that we were under the boil order. And afterwards, you just couldn't drink the tap water anymore. It was that bad. But I don't worry about the microplastics in the water. I know I could go buy the mountain spring water, the big green glass bottle stuff, or other glass bottled waters. That stuff's hard to store, and I tend to keep a not insignificant number of cases of water on hand at all times after that weather event. So for now, I drink bottled water, even though I am legitimately concerned about microplastics. It's just something that at this stage I can't deal with. And I think the key to how much should you worry about things is, where are you on your carnivore journey? You don't want a purity spiral, but you do want to take all these things seriously. And as you get more comfortable, as the things get more by rote in your life, as you just naturally start doing things, take them more seriously. So, I try to buy organic pasture-raised eggs if I can. Usually I buy them at Costco, but lately Costco's had a limit of 2 per person. That's odd. That's not something I'm used to seeing, and I'm wondering what's going on out there with that. I have a theory, but so I had to actually buy the lower grade eggs because they just didn't have that many pasture-raised organic eggs anymore. I usually try to buy that. And when it comes to butter, I usually buy Kirkland's butter. Kirkland's answer to the Kerrygold, because I think it tastes better, and it doesn't have skim milk in it either. So, but so grass-fed butter if I can, but there's really not a lot of evidence that the grass-fed butter is actually significantly different anyway. I give my children grass-fed milk when I can. I don't give them raw milk because you can't buy it legally at any store in my state. You have to get it from a farm, and all the farms have a long, long, long wait list. So, and I'm not on that wait list. I don't consume dairy because I'm trying to lose weight. That's where I would start. If you're trying to lose body fat, ditch the dairy other than butter. Or maybe go down to ghee if you can't do butter, if butter causes you problems. And that's a whole nother video. But I worry about things like dairy. I worry about things like quality of eggs. And I buy my meat locally, partially to support the local economy and my local rancher, but also to get better quality meat. Those are the main things I concern myself with. Oh, and salt. Beyond that, I'm not in a place where I'm too worried about things. Should you drink coffee or not? It's up to you. Should you drink bottled water? Again, that's up to you, where you are at, and what your purpose with doing a carnivore diet is. The spices question, all these things, they all have to do with why you're doing the carnivore diet and what your goals are. If you're trying to control Hashimoto's or something like that, you have to go as strict as you possibly can until you get the results you want, and that's where you should live. Everybody's different. If you're trying to lose body fat, probably a closer to a keto approach for carnivore will work for you. I'm not saying ketovore. I mean, you can probably have your cup of coffee. You can probably have spices on your meats and things. It's probably fine. You'll probably have to get the dairy out too. Should you be worried about microplastics? Absolutely. But if it's just one thing too many, then maybe you put that off for a while, especially since you probably already have plastics in your blood anyway. One research study I saw several years ago said it was like 99% of human beings have trace amounts of plastics in our blood because of the plastics and everything. Microplastics is a video I'm going to do in the future to explain to you that problem and why it's so maddening. But the one thing you should not do is drive yourself mad by trying to engage in the purity spiraling you see here. Go as strict, adopt all these things as you can, depending where you are in your carnivore journey. Yes, adopting all of them is probably good because none of these concerns are wrong. None of them are. They all are rooted in something real. But that doesn't mean you should let, the perfect be the enemy of the good here. It all depends up to you, what you want to do, how you're going to find yourself having success on this diet. Because the carnivore diet for some people is very hard, at least in the beginning. But then, you hit your stride and it becomes easy. And then you can start ramping up how restrictive you are on things. Buying only glass bottled water, if you can figure out a way to store enough of it for winter. I haven't figured that out yet. And I do have some basic questions about glass bottled water anyway, especially since there's no glass recycling in my area. That's really annoying too, by the way. What are some concerns you have? Like things that you see people worrying about, but you kind of scratch your head at a little bit, let me know in the comments what those are. I'm curious because I could have made a video listing all of them and it would have been a long video because you see all kinds of things in the carnivore space. And this isn't the fruit versus not fruit debate either. We're talking basic small things that we take for granted every day that suddenly when you start doing carnivore, you start getting some pushback on. So let me know what you've run into in the carnivore space on this because I'm genuinely curious, and let me know if you've decided to adopt that restriction or you're thinking about it or whatnot. I'll give you one example here to close this out. Redmond's makes salt, wonderful salt. They also make a toothpaste. I am not a fan of their toothpaste. It comes out of the toothpaste brown like clay, and it makes your teeth brown. You rinse you rinse after your brush like normal, and it goes away. Not a fan. I bought a couple tubes of it, thought I'd like it. Nope. I still have one of those tubes as my emergency next time there's an ice storm and I forgot to buy toothpaste and I run out in the middle of it kind of thing. I have it for that, but beyond that, no, I'm good. I'd rather use Tom's of Maine or something, or some other toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it because you don't need to use fluoride. It's not necessary. Especially on the carnivore diet when you're not consuming sugar, which won't destroy your teeth. But I'm curious, other things that you've found that you see people worrying about when doing carnivore that you sort of scratch your head at. Maybe some people could answer your questions for you in the comments. So leave me a comment in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It really does help. This is sharing this on social media. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time.